Good morning, this is Will Faerber from Art to Ride. I'm here with Jody Anderson and her horse Casanova this morning. And we had a question come in yesterday, a couple of days back, about someone who's working their horse and developing and wanting to know, how do I know if my horse is developing its top line? Well, it's quite simple because you will see the top line change. By the top line, I mean that point from the middle of the horse's ears all the way back to his tail. Now, if you look at this horse very carefully, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, you can see how the top of his neck muscles are lit up, how the bottom of his neck muscles look very soft, but he's reaching out from the shoulder. Now let's back up, I'm going to widen the view here a little bit so you can see. Now look how evenly his diagonal pairs are moving. That is the outside hind leg with the inside foreleg. Now that is one of the cardinal rules of correct dressage. When you look at any upper level horse, that hind leg should be coming back. Now she's only in a nice working trot frame here right now, but that should not change, and actually there is an example of me doing that with this very horse on YouTube that you can see, where I bring him up all the way into collection and back again. Now he's just coming back from having a little time off, so we're not going to bring him quite that high up today. But what you can also see, I'm going to zoom in there, behind the saddle. See how filled and round his hindquarters look. There isn't any big dip behind the saddle. It looks like a nice big round apple. Well, that's what your butt, the horse's butt should look like. Not yours, but actually, you get the idea. Anyway, so across the back, the loin area, look how nicely developed, and if I swing in there, you can see how nicely swinging that is. Now she's going to let him all the way out into a long stretch now, let him all the way down. Once again, see how the trot doesn't change. And those of you who are riding competitive dressage, this is what a judge is looking for. When you go in and can do a stretch in your dressage test that looks like this, you will get 9s, just like this horse has done many, many times. Notice there was absolutely no change. Now she's just going to bring him back up into the working trot. Once again, watching those top line muscles. Watch how the top of the muscle, as she brings him up, actually widens, like someone flexing their bicep. And that is what you want to do. You want to think of the top line as just one long muscle. You don't need to know what all the muscles are called in there, but you need to know that they need to work all together. So anytime you break the horse's neck over too far in the middle, or you flex the neck to one side too far, you take the spine out of line and make it actually impossible for the horse to do what it is you're asking him to do. So once again, look how completely filled this horse is behind the saddle there. How round it looks through the loin. That's what a correctly trained horse looks like. So many horses today we see, I call them tented hips. You look at their back end and the croup is just so high up, and the point of the hips there is so high up, and you can see a clear triangle. Well, that's a horse that has no real muscle across its top line. So once again, look how easily this horse has kept the same steady rhythm, because she's not riding with the brakes on. The biggest misconception in dressage is this idea that you hold against the mouth of the horse. If you hold against the mouth of the horse, just like if you hold your fingers around your bicep and try to flex them, what you'll find is you won't be able to flex the muscle. Well, that's what people do to horses. When you pull against the mouth of the horse, it actually makes it less able to flex across the top line. That's how all these horses end up broken up in the third vertebrae, or even further back in the neck sometimes. So once again, we're looking at roundness, which muscles develop. So as you watch your horse, days and weeks go by, you should be able to see that filling up. That's why we like to use the Sleza saddles, because they come out and check every time, and they'll tell you very quickly whether your horse is developing back or not. So keeping track of that is a very important thing for dressage riders. Once again, she's going to stretch him all the way down. Look how beautifully balanced he's stayed. He's never lost his rhythm. And this horse, even though his head and neck is down, he is not on the forehand. Now, I'm going to do something that we do all the time that I tell people. When you're watching horses, take your hand and cover up the neck and see what the rest of the body looks like, because that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to move so we don't see the neck of the horse. Now, does he look like he's on his forehand? No, he's swinging deeply underneath his body, but look where his head and neck is. So being on the forehand depends much more on whether the horse is working through the back or not. So often we see these dressage horses that are hollow and flashing their legs up, but if you look closely, you'll see that they're actually on their forehand, not to mention that they maintain that horizontal frame where they never really lower. And that's also because they never get developed correctly as young horses. As horses develop through the stretch, it actually pulls the withers bone up through the withers and gives the horse a much more uphill appearance. All right, once again, this is Will Faerber. Thank you, Jody. Say hi to all your fans out there. This is Will Faerber from Art to Ride. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Hope that helps.